Trying to rationalize that suicide ideation by slowly killing yourself with something that temporarily feels good, but you constantly keep running back to it trying to get that first high. I don't want to be here, so if I gotta be here, when you mixing it with fucking tobacco, which is chemically addictive, it can be fucking addictive, period, point blank. Porn is an addiction, food is an addiction. There's a lot of other shit that makes you look cool other than smoking weed. I promise you. No disrespect. My pothead friends and viewers are gonna not like this, but it is what it is. Like I said, I'm a raw, vulnerable person. I have to be real. Like my weed addiction and my tobacco addiction. I noticed that my triggers when it comes to like weed goes way back to like when I was in high school when I first started smoking weed and I had left home, slash was put out, and I started smoking weed, and it was an escape, right? But I've realized now, like as an adult, through a lot of different experiences, that why do I smoke weed? Like, what prompts me to want to smoke weed and have this just craving, for a blunt or for that tobacco, you know what I mean? Or even when I smell it out in public, you know what I mean? So it's like, why do I go out of my way to smoke? Like the three big things that prompt me to want to smoke and that like pretty much trigger my craving or trigger that addiction: boredom, overstimulation, or I'm upset. If I am overstimulated socially and I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to be here, I ain't trying to do this, I'm ready to go, or I'm fixing to go to a social event or socialize, I gotta smoke first, you know what I mean? Or before I want to watch and eat something, I'm gonna smoke while I'm cooking, and I'm gonna smoke while I'm watching it, and then I'm gonna smoke again before I go to bed to put me to sleep. I smoke and wake and bake, wake up and smoke, and it's like, it's like going to this doctor to fix you or to like heal you, and realizing that they've been giving you vitamins but also poison at the same time. And I think that, I said it before in a different video, a video diary, where I feel like, yes, knowing and understanding the science behind cannabis, I feel like why I constantly keep going back to it and trying to like, no, I can make this work. This can be a medicine, and it's a healing plant. Da 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 da. Going through all these different things like bias and no bias. It's like, yes, these things are true, but I have not refined that. For me, I have not been able to personally. In a perfect world, I would like to grow my own medicine, get my shit lab tested so I know what terpenes, what cannabinoids they're high in, so I know what time of day I need to be using which strains. Buying street weed, buying weed, or being gifted random strains from local growers and stuff like that, you can't control those things. So if you get stuck and you don't want to be stuck, it's an uncomfortable feeling. Whether you like cannabis or not, it's an uncomfortable feeling when you're overstimulated in a social space from a terpene like limonene that has you hyper focused and you're anxious and you're paranoid. Like, that's not the place for that. So when it comes to my lifestyle changing and me looking at that envious, like the version of myself that I envy, what does her lifestyle look like? What does she do on a day-to-day basis? She is definitely not sitting up in the bed, rolling up damn near a pool a day, smoking a pool a day, and doing jack shit. You know what I mean? Granted, I wouldn't just do jack shit, but it felt like that because I would just feel like my body feeling heavy. And then when I'm mixing the tobacco with it, it just made me feel like this dirty, icky feeling. I didn't like it. And sometimes it's like, bro, I be wanting to be high or have a, altered state of consciousness without smoking. You know what I mean? So but that's a whole nother science, engaging what is appropriate and what you need at that moment as far as medicine or relief or pain relief or anything like that. But I wasn't using it for that. Like, I was misusing it. I was using it to run away from my reality, because my reality sober is uncomfortable as fuck. It's a failure. It's painful and it's shit. So I don't want to be here. So if I gotta be here, people who are suicidal or have suicidal ideation that's reoccurring, a lot of the time we indulge in, you know, different vices to escape without committing to death. It's like a prolonged death. That's how it feels. It's like a slow death until it takes you out because you don't have the courage, the gumption, nor the fucking audacity to do it yourself. Trying to rationalize that suicide ideation by slowly killing yourself with something that temporarily feels good, but you constantly keep running back to it, trying to get that first high, that first, you know, mind-blowing experience that changed you, and you're trying to get to a level in your life where you want to change, but you're using the same tools. Like I said, the suit doesn't fit anymore. You know, the type of person I was when I started smoking weed and, you know, using it heavy, being in these social spaces with other people who smoke weed, that suit doesn't fit the person, the version of myself that I'm envious of, that I want to be. And I can feel it every time I go out of my way to make sure I got weed to last me through certain tasks. So it's like, I have found a nug under my desk that was covered in dog hair, dust, dirt, and debris. And I was cleaning up and doing everything. And I had a split second where I contemplated, and I tried to rationalize dusting it off, cleaning it off as much as possible, and smoking it. For real. And that's why I was like, yeah, this is a prime measurement of where I once was and where I am now and who I'm trying to be. Because there in my mind, when it comes to that version of myself, she's not smoking street weed. If she's smoking weed, she's smoking good quality weed. She's smoking boutique-esque, and she knows exactly where her weed comes from. It's clean, it's high in terpenes, and she knows what she's doing. She's smoking with intention. The girl right now, oh bitch, I'm looking for the $30 apes. I'm looking for the $25 apes. I'm looking for the $20 apes. I'm looking for the apes of shake. You know what I mean? I'm willing to, you know, whatever you got on the low quality, affordable bar to activate and electrify that part of my brain that wants to escape. So it's a fucking journey. Like, I've literally had this. I've been sitting on this, and I've known this for a while. I know God has been telling me to, at the very least, take a fucking step back, okay? Take a step back, bitch, okay? I love gardening. I love growing. Cannabis is my favorite plant to grow, but I do think God is telling me to take a step back from it in its entirety, which scares the fuck out of me because I thought that I had a career and, in a way, a path in this industry. And for God to be, in a way, telling me to take a step back feels like a stab in the fucking gut. But I don't know. You know, I'm living in unforeseen, uncertain change of times right now. And the only thing I can depend on is my relationship with God. Like, that's the only thing that I can depend on to get me through this season of my life right now. You know, no relationship with anyone, no friendship, you know, family relationship can get me through this. No therapy, you know. So that's where I'm at with my, you know, my weed usage and my, you know, weed addiction. And I use that because, you know, people are going to say what they want to say, that weed isn't, you know, chemically addictive and blah, blah, blah. But I do believe the act of, when you mixing it with fucking tobacco, which is chemically addictive, it can be fucking addictive, period, point blank. This is kind of different because, like, I feel like cannabis and growing cannabis and smoking cannabis is pretty much synonymous with my brand and my, like, persona and this meat shell that you see here and that I put out on the internet. But it's only like 20% of who I am. And I think God is telling me to allow myself to be whole and be full and really step into my full potential. And I can't do that if I'm high and in a haze all the fucking time. Like, no disrespect. My pothead friends and viewers are going to not like this, but it is what it is. Like I said, I'm a raw, vulnerable person. I have to be real. Like, and this is where I am in my life right now, where it's affecting things that it should not be affecting, that I should not have allowed it to affect. But I have to deal with it. I have to deal with the consequences of my actions. And I'm at a point where I can't shy away from it. It's right in my fucking face. And if God is telling me that I have to stop smoking, growing, and being around people who smoke cannabis, then in order for me to have mental sanity, like this is the thing, it's about mental sanity and peace and stability for me. It's not about like being like, there's a lot of other shit that makes you look cool other than smoking weed. I promise you. And that's why I don't want that to just ooze out of my personality. Like I am in a space where I don't want to show my whole hand. I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. I don't want to reveal all of my gifts to people, or things about me to people. Like I said, oversharing tends to be like a trauma response for me. I tend to overshare out of trauma, and I'm learning how to not do that. I think oversharing is also a people pleasing tactic, which is another conversation. But I'm not in a space where I need to be making people feel comfortable with how I express myself and my relationship with God. Like my relationship with God is my relationship with God. And if you don't like it and it makes you uncomfortable, that's on you. That has nothing to fucking do with me. And I'm tired of making myself feel uncomfortable at the expense of making other people feel comfortable, you know? So even talking about God and like in the alternative spaces that I be in, and, you know, the alternative ways that I think, and I'm a very free thinker, so it's not really the framework for the type of people that I can exist around in different spaces, that I can be a chameleon to. But it's me, and I think I need to really, like, God is really putting me in a position where I have to face this whole wide mirror of all of my potential and the capacity that it can be at. And I think I'm looking at myself on such a small scale and trying to put myself in a niche to feel safe and feel like a space of belonging by, oh, the cannabis community, herbalism community, alternative medicine community, the hotep community, the woke community, the wellness, holistic health people, whatever. And it's like, fuck all that. Like I go through different spaces and different times and different personas. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I can't just be one way, one person, how you met me. I'm very multifaceted and I have a lot of different creative styles when it comes to just the way I live and different inspirations. And I'm coming to a point where I'm finding there's no real rules to that. Like there's no real rules or structure to creating that. Like there's no framework to that. Literally that shit is abstractly created and none of it has any like borders or lines. So it's like, why am I boxing myself in to be this like, you know, cool cannabis grower, you know, intellect, artsy, fartsy, you know, art hoe. Like I'm all of that, but I'm also so much more. And I'm not allowing myself to be that much more because of me, the illusion of comfort that belonging to a certain niche would get me, you know, even though I haven't even like really broken into that niche. Like I'm just now getting started with like expressing myself consistently on this platform or whatever in this world that we live in. And that's part of why I started my channel too, is to get better at speaking out loud and activating my throat chakra and really like stepping into my voice, because I really don't like the sound of my own voice, which is a whole nother conversation. But I started this channel for a lot of reasons, one of which was self-documentation, holding myself accountable, getting better with my speech. Obviously, you see I struggle with stumbling over my own words, enunciation, and public speaking, like just engaging with my own voice and my own persona, and just having something to look back on, like having something to have a bookmark on. Where was I at this state in time? Where was I at this point in time? Because when I get into a depression and I'm not living and I'm not here, it's like time is going to continue on anyway. But when I look back at these videos and I listen to my voice diaries, I'm like, okay, I understand why these things happen, because I was in this space, you know, this is where I was at the time, and all of these other things fell on the back burner. So in turn, I am where I am now. But had I not had that evidence, I may have not been able to self-reflect and, you know, analyze it in that way. But I am ready to move on and move out. And I'm ready to really fully listen to God, like no matter how it looks like. And even the word God, I tend to be triggered by that word because of my upbringing in Christianity. Is something that I didn't really resonate with. And still to this day, I don't resonate with. I don't really resonate with structured religions, really. But I do believe in a higher power. I do believe in God. I do believe in there is something that is a part of this play and orchestra that is bigger than us. You know, not everything is in our control. It's not. So I do believe there's something that also has a hand in my existence. And I want to dance with that hand. I don't want to fight with that hand no more, you know. So yeah, that's where I'm at. And I'm going to do my best to have some discipline and self-control with my weed addiction and my tobacco addiction and the soul tie and emotional tie I have to it from trauma, from bliss, from beautiful memories, from traumatic memories. You know, that's where I'm at with it. Yeah. I hope this helps somebody. And if you resonate with it, leave a comment and let me know where you are in your journey. If you struggle with addiction of any sort, even if it's like, it's not a chemical addiction. Porn is an addiction. Food is an addiction. I struggle with binge eating as well. And weed and food definitely had a synonymous relationship with me and my coping mechanism. So if you resonate with it, please leave a comment and start the conversation or continue the conversation in the comments, because I would love to hear y'all experiences and your perspectives and point of view on if you feel like weed is addictive, or if you struggle with weed addiction before, or anyone in your family has struggled with any form of addiction, because addiction does run in my family chemically, generationally. So yeah.